Super Smash Bros. Is a very fun video game. I happen to really enjoy it. I play it a lot. I've made some videos on this channel. But now, the competitive scene is under threat. I know that we always like to say, oh, it's Jover, oh, this is it, you know, it's the end, this is going to be it, we're screwed, competitive's done. People say that a lot, they scaremonger about it a lot, but this actually, genuinely, I think is the biggest threat to competitive Super Smash Bros. And Nintendo games in general that we've ever seen. Today, Nintendo published a series of guidelines for what they're calling community tournaments, which basically massively restrict them in so many different ways, in terms of how much money they can make. Well, in fact, they can't make money anymore. What they're allowed to do, what they're allowed to sell, what they're not allowed to sell, mostly. And it makes a lot of massive interventions that very much could just kill any hope of not only just Smash being an esport, but of Smash Bros. Tournaments even being able to exist in any way that is fun. Let's just jump straight in here. The tournament guidelines I've got on screen. So we've got the first one right off the bat is huge. Community tournaments may not generate commercial revenue except by permitted by these guidelines. So it basically says, like, obviously that's commercial revenue as in making money, right? Not profits. But this does explicitly say you can't make profit from Super Smash Bros. Tournaments. So, and another one, massive straight off the bat. 200 participants maximum for in-person tournaments. So that won't affect locals. Locals are normally going to be about, you know, between like, I don't know, 20 and 80 maximum really for a local. 200 is probably like a regional, like a middling sized tournament. But like, that's it. No majors. There are no majors, only like medium to small regionals. And also only 300 participants allowed for online tournaments, which is crazy because like, I don't see why they're wading into that. But this already immediately massively restricts the future of Smash as an esport. This alone says Smash Bros. Can no longer be an esport because there are only small events. And we've got here, so another one, so a massive one. Entry fees can now only be a maximum of £18. So once again, this doesn't really affect locals. The average local, at least in the UK's price is about £10. But like even regionals, like they've pretty much got to be above £18. The tournament organizers to see, you know, even a shred of not just profit, but like breaking even. Like running a tournament's expensive. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of manpower. Despite what Twitter will have you believe, the greedy TOs is not really a real thing. Like this is huge. Like really, really impacts the sustainability of any tournament. Like maximum to £18 is insane. And then we've got some extra stipulations here. Entry fees from participants may be used to cover the costs of organizing a tournament and towards prizing. So they can only be used for the cost of the tournament and towards the prize that are going to be offered. Okay, so once you're reached the legal age of majority, I don't really understand what that means. They may provide goods and services to participants as prizing. Okay, you're allowed to give goods and services as prizing. That's a bit odd. Like, does that include cash? I saw someone say that you're not allowed to do cash prizing anymore, but I'm not sure if that's true from reading it. No prize may exceed a market value of £4,500 in total, or include the prohibited items outlined in Q17, which is down below. And that's basically like you can't use alcohol, you can't use like anything illegal or anything that would damage Nintendo brand, standard stuff. And then the total cash prizing of a single organizer can offer through community tournaments in a 12-month period must be no more than £9,000. So a tournament max prize is £4,500, but within a year, a tournament can't hand out any more than £9,000. So basically, if you're like the biggest tournament you can do, we want the biggest prize possible, at most you can do 2 for £4,500, which is wild. Like, Smash Bros. Has never really been an esport where you're going to make loads of money, but like, you know, 10k, 15, I think there's some tournaments with 20, I'm sure there's some with more, but like, £4,500 for an esport really isn't that much. That massively restricts anyone who wants to try and, you know, be a Smash player competitively as like a full-time job. Like currently, pretty much every competitive Smash Bros. Player who isn't employed elsewhere is like a content creator or like part-time employed. Or they do things like Medify to try and supplement their income. Whereas this, like, you know, one organizer can have 2 tournaments a year with £4,500. That's really not a lot. And then for spectators, the maximum about £14. Whatever, I'm not really that bothered about that. Organizers collecting fees must publicly disclose all accounting related to the cost of hosting events promptly, including entry fees, admission fees, and prizes distributed by posting them on the website. So all costs related to a tournament have to be posted publicly. Really going for the greedy TO angle. Like, someone at Nintendo is really into Twitter and is like, hey, These guys are getting pretty crazy about this. That's bad. And this is an interesting one here. Only with the prior consent of participants can organizers monetize posting videos, still images, etc. related to community tournaments. So basically, like, streams or like YouTube videos afterwards can only be done with the consent of those involved. That's pretty simple. Like, you would just put in like your tournament contract or whatever, like a little tick box that says like, do you consent for us using the content, blah blah blah. And if they don't tick that, they're not allowed to come. Like, that's pretty workable. And then down here, the total amount of revenue a single organizer earns in a 12-month period for these activities should be no more than equivalent of £9,000. Wow. So you can't make any more than £9,000 in 12 months from the content that you make from tournaments, which is coincidentally the exact amount that you're allowed to give out. So they're basically trying to like level out the Smash Bros. Tournament scene. They want it to be perfectly even. There's no profit. You can only give away as much as you're allowed to take in. Like, it's very, very even, which is not good. And like, once again, takes away any sort of potential for an esport in the Smash scene to grow. Like, you're not allowed to make money. Why would anyone commit to this? Like now at this point, your best case scenario is you break even, right? That's hours of work. You've got loads of people involved in this team. You're getting up early. You're putting up monitors. You often finish late. And like, I get it. You know, people already do work really hard for the tournaments that they are, and they don't really make any money. Like, TOs very, very rarely make money, if at all. Like, a good tournament for a TO is breaking even. But if you ever want to have a future and sort of develop the scene at all, you need to have some sort of chance for people to be able to make money off it. Like, if people want to actually do it properly. Whereas instead now, like I said, the only way you can do it is you can possibly break even if you're lucky, and that's it. Like, that's insane. Scrolling down now, tournament may use Nintendo game footage or images under the following conditions. They may show tournament gameplay. Okay, they can show tournament gameplay, that's fine. Organizers may use captured footage or screenshots of Nintendo games for any announcement materials of the community tournament, so long as the game is officially launched. Okay, so you can use them for like announcing like things like what do you call it? Trailers and things like that can still use gameplay footage. A community tournament is not affiliated with Nintendo. It makes no use of Nintendo trademarks or IP. This one's really strict. So the IP restrictions are really strong. You may not imply that Nintendo is associated or sponsoring a tournament. That's fine. So if you're a community tournament, you're not allowed to say Nintendo is sponsoring us. Like, that's fine. You're not endorsed. You're not official. Whatever. The names of community tournaments may not contain Nintendo trademarks or IP, such as Nintendo's game company name, logo, product, or service name, such as game titles, names adopted. So you can't use like character names now in a tournament. So you couldn't call it like Mario Meltdown Monday, like Mario Monday Meltdown. That's now banned, which is insane. This includes any shortened or modified uses of Nintendo trademark or IP. So like anything like Donkey Kong, Mario, any of those aren't allowed anymore. Other than referencing the game name to indicate which game is being played, so you're allowed to say this is Super Smash Bros. You're allowed to say this is Super Smash Bros. Other than referencing the game name to indicate which game is being played, so other than saying this is Super Smash Bros, you're not allowed to make any use of Nintendo trademarks or IP. So you can't be like, so yeah, in your advertisements, you're not allowed to post any sort of Nintendo stuff apart from saying this is what the game is. The game, this stuff is fine. Like, no mods. Which, like, I get that. Like, people love mods. People put a lot of work into making their mods, and some mods are really cool. But like, I don't blame Nintendo for not wanting like what is a public aspect of their video game to be dominated by mods. Like, I think that makes sense. And while I understand that, like I said, a lot of people put a lot of work into them, there's a lot of art and creativity and passion that people have put into mods, and I respect that and I love that. I think this was one that I was always kind of expecting, and if they'd have just come out, if Nintendo just came out and said, by the way, any tournament that uses mods we're banning, I'd be like, you know what, that's fine. I don't like it, but that's fine. Games of online play must use the online gameplay services, okay, and or servers officially provided by Nintendo. So maybe you're not allowed to use Anfa's Ladder. That could be the intention that you can maybe not allowed to use like external like matchmaking services. That could possibly be a thing here, but I'm not sure. The organizer posts this would also really impact online tournaments, because you're not allowed to use the like Wi-Fi mod, which like basically makes Wi-Fi playable, which is something to keep in mind as well, because like online play is increasingly becoming a better way to train, and that probably won't be a thing anymore. The organizer posts the following notice on, okay, so you have to say that in every advert, whatever, you have to say Nintendo is not sponsored or affiliated with this tournament. That's fine. And this other one, terms of participating in viewing. So basically you have to put the link in to be like, hey, if you want to rat me out, if you want to be a snitch, here's how you can find out what rules we're breaking. We've also got some more stipulations. Ensuring community time, like applicable laws, that's fine. Protection of personal information, this is all normal. This is normal health and safety. You can't be discriminatory, that's fine. And here's a big one here. Organizers will not permit gambling or use of alcohol at community tournaments. Obviously drugs, duh, that's not allowed. Organizers will not permit gambling or use of alcohol at tournaments. That's insane. That is a huge impact on the Smash scene, which I will explain after I take a quick drink of this. Okay, so in terms of the UK specifically, we have 3 locals in London that are every week. Well, one of them is bi-weekly, but it's fine. We've got Monday Meltdown, which is in North London. It's at a bar. It's a really good time. I was actually there yesterday and had a great time on the mic whilst I was a little bit tipsy, which may have contributed to this decision by Nintendo. Can neither confirm nor deny. So there's that one on Mondays. Really good time. Shout out Meltdown. On Wednesday, every other week, there's Escape Bar Stratford, which is in Stratford, East London, and is at a bar as well, and it's a really good time. Shout out to the people who organise that, and of course Meltdown. And then on Sundays, the one tournament that people under the age of 18 can go to in London is Counterattack, which is in East Croydon at an arcade, which is also a good time. Less my vibe, but is also very fun. Shout out to them too. This single-handedly would destroy the London local scene. Like, would absolutely decimate any tournament enjoyment that people have in the UK. Like, I know a lot of people who only go to these tournaments, like, they like the game, they like playing, but mostly it's a community event. It's a social thing. Like, everyone turns up, you have a couple drinks, you chat some rubbish, you have a nice time, then you leave. Like, there's so many people who go to Smash tournaments in the UK who they go because they like people there, they like the game a little bit, and then they just have a nice time. And this would absolutely destroy our local scene. And would just decimate like the years of work people have put into building a really good community. You know, I've made loads of friends from these tournaments, and that wouldn't be the same without it being held in venues like Meltdown or like Escape Bar Stratford, and that's really tragic. So I'm just gonna pour one out for the homies. In addition, Nintendo games may not be community tournaments that are illegal and are appropriately conducted. That's fine. Nothing offensive. Protect health and safety. Have sponsors or advertise or promote any entity, products, or services. Like, I must have missed this earlier, but like, you're not even allowed to have external sponsors anymore. Like, that absolutely destroys any esports hope. And also tournaments that are right now. Like, tournaments, they have like, you know, they've got entry fee that's like a reasonable price. It's a little bit higher than some people can afford. And they still barely break even. Like, without any sort of outside sponsorship help, it destroys the scene. Like, and things like Metafy suddenly won't be able to work. Like, all of these consistent Smash Bros. Products that like sponsor tournaments and, you know, sort of give a sort of like, you know, money go around in the community are now just dead. You can't advertise or promote any entity, products, or services. Like, no sponsors, no Red Bull Gaming Sphere where Frontrunners is hosted, nothing. Unbelievable. Like, an absolutely just destroys any potential of this game to be an esport. Include anything that damages value of Nintendo, whatever improved Nintendo deems inappropriate. And at the end, they just say, by the way, anything that we don't like, we can also get rid of. Which, like, oh my god, like, as an out, that's so brutal. Like, not only was it already very strict, it's also now they put in the end, by the way, we might just not like you, and that could be it. Like, we have that right, which is unbelievable. And then down here, you know, if you were afraid of how Nintendo were going to enforce it, you're like, oh, maybe they won't really do anything. Nintendo reserves the right to take legal action or cancel any community tournaments in its sole discretion, including any tournaments that violate or are likely to violate these guidelines, or community tournaments that Nintendo otherwise deems inappropriate. In addition, we may take measures such as prohibiting individuals who violate these guidelines or engage in other inappropriate acts from hosting tournaments in the future. So you now, like, you couldn't host a tournament in the bar. Like, even if you were going to say, like, we're not really drinking, like, oh, we have a maximum 2-drink maximum, like, we're going to be really strict here. That's just not possible anymore. It would just get shut down immediately. Like, that, and like legal action as well. Like, they will cease and desist you, which is unbelievable. Like, that's this is them saying we mean this. Like we're not just saying it to try and, you know, spook you a bit. This is something that we mean with our heart and soul. So get fucking ready. We've also got Nintendo is not responsible for any problems that may arise between organized participants and spectators. That's fine. We may update these guidelines in Q&A from time to time, so please check them out constantly. So they might just randomly change them. If you find a loophole, you find a speakeasy type loophole, you might just get shut down. Okay, so before we go to the Q&A, let's just have an initial reaction here. So for the UK scene, this is devastating, like immediately. Like just the alcohol thing as well. Like obviously I'm drinking a beer right now. You can see where my heart lies. That's it. It's over. Like it is actually over. But in every single way, in a broader tournament sense, like it's destructive. I mean, no more than 200 people. That's any major can no longer exist now. The tournament at most can be a regional. It can be a reasonably sized tournament. Like 200 is not that many. That's a smallish tournament. And like then restricting the amount someone can make as well. Like you're not allowed to like jack the price up at all, like from £18. Like TOs don't make anything. Like I know everyone knows this. Anyone who's sane knows that TOs aren't like greedy and making loads of profit. But like this just hammers it home. Like it's impossible to run any sort of tournament of any sort of scale or ambition. Like unless it's the most basic bare bones, you know, your mum's basement, a couple monitors, you cannot run a tournament, which is so unfortunate. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, like this would be the end. Like for locals like Meltdown, where I made so many friends and I have a real community that I am a part of and enjoy being a part of. That's just it. And that's really upsetting. That's genuinely quite depressing. And the absolute scope of what they're doing is unbelievable. Like it's massive. Like, you know, in every single way, like number of people coming, the money you can make, you're now banned from making any profit. The amount you're allowed to give to players is gone. So there's not even a chance of people making money in any way. Even for streamers, like, I mean, I guess it wouldn't really impact streaming because it's only for tournaments, but like online tournaments as well, there's not even a refuse there. We're like, okay, we'll shift to an online model. That's now fucked as well. It's got the exact same restrictions and also 300 people maximum, which really isn't that many for an online tournament. That's unbelievable. Like before we go into the Q&A, right, the only out that I see here, the obvious out is that they won't enforce it, but I feel like up here they definitely like show the intention that they will. Like they are saying that this is an option that they'll take. They'll use legal action. The only out that I really see is like, what does a community tournament permitted by these guidelines refer to? So they use community tournament with capital letters, right? Community capital C, tournament capital T. If they just said community tournament with lower letters, it would just mean any tournament, basically. Like any tournament that they don't run, it would definitely mean that, because it just means a tournament. But community tournament, having it be capitalized implies a certain like distinction for it. So it's possible that tournaments could exist outside of community ones. There's a slim chance, because they do say like you're not, even if you're a community tournament, you're not sanctioned by Nintendo. Like you have to very clearly say you're not affiliated with us and you're not sanctioned by us. But it is possible that they would have a specific classic community tournament, which is like, we're only going to apply these to certain ones, but not others. But that's unlikely. That's the only out that I can really see, apart from them just not enforcing this. A community tournament permitted by these guidelines must meet the following requirements. Copyright games, yeah. Tournament organized by individuals. I don't even know what that means. Sure. Small-scale gaming tournament, 300 or fewer participants for online. Yeah, so they have to be small. Like, they have to be small-scale. You can't have a big esports tournament, which I like. Why wouldn't you want that? Like, I understand everything else. Well, not everything else. I understand a lot of what else they're saying. Like, I get why you'd want to really limit the IP. I get why you'd even want to ban alcohol. Like, that makes sense. You're a children's party game. Like, I don't agree with it. I think there's space for things that are adult in this life. But I see why they want to do that. But, like, limiting it to such a small scale seems so odd to me. Like, why not have a tournament with 1,000 people? Is it because it's harder to control? Like, what? Let's go down here. So we got logo images. No, A2. It is not permitted to use Nintendo game logos, character images, game images, music or sound effects for tournament promotions, venue decorations, or background music. Oh my god. You are permitted to use footage and screenshots captured from Nintendo games for promotional materials for your tournament. So you're not allowed to use them. Wait, what? So you can't use any like stills or art or any sort of interpretation or any music. What you are allowed to do is, specifically to promote your tournament, you can use footage or screenshots. You can't edit them in any way. You can't have like these creative, works of art like Mario fighting ZSS and a poster like squaring up. That's gone. Like that takes out so much creativity that is in tournament running, where like your cue cards before a tournament runs, like boxing style, like the square up. That's gone, which is unbelievable. What are some of the tournaments that are not permitted by these guidelines? Okay, this is going to be really clear. Okay, tournaments that are banned. For-profit tournaments. You now, at best, can break even. You're a charity. You're spending hours of work so people can play a video game, but you're not allowed to make any money. Fuck you. Unbelievable. Hence the strict guidelines above. Online tournaments that collected admission fees from spectators. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you shouldn't really be charging people to be a spectator in a tournament. That's online. Tournaments that make it a condition of entry in tournaments or viewing tournaments to subscribe to follow a YouTube channel. I guess I'm fine with that. I mean, like, if there's currently a thing where, like, oh, to join this online tournament or whatever, you have to be a part of a Discord server. I get this. That's fine. Doesn't really make much of a difference. Tournaments participants are paid a performance fee for other expenses. So this means you can't, like, fly out a top player. So you can't be like, oh, Light or Tweak or anyone. You can't. We're not allowed. We're no longer pay for you to come from France and come play in a tournament, which is bad. Like, that massively impacts the international community of the scene. Like, that's a big part of it, where tournament organizers, they use a bit of their money and they get big players to come because it builds the international profile, and it makes us engage more as an international community, which is something that we're really proud of. Like, another thing this does, like, it really localizes things. Like, such small tournaments, there's now no interest in it. Like, it can't be an esport. It's just not a thing anymore, which is tragic. Tournaments that receive goods or money from third parties. So yeah, no more sponsors. They've already said that. You're not allowed to have any sort of support. You can't advertise anything. Oh my god. Tournaments involving the sale of food, beverages, or merchandise. You now can't... This hat is illegal at all tournaments. You can't buy food in a venue. If a tournament's hosting it, your tournament's hosted in, I don't know, like in a restaurant of some kind, that's not okay. That's banned. You're not allowed to eat in tournaments. Like, God forbid gamers are allowed to have a little sandwich or a little snack while they game. That's wild. You can't buy a bottle of water. Bottles of water are banned. Oh my god. That's so fucking stupid. How can we ensure that total admission fees collected in person? I don't care about this. When all in-person tournament fees, please set the maximum spectators in advance. Wow, okay, so if you do somehow accidentally, like, make more money than you're allowed to, you have to give it back to the spectators. Is it possible to name the community tournaments after a specific product, name, or service party? Nintendo games may not be used, so you can't include a Nintendo game in your thing. You couldn't call it Mario Meltdown or whatever. Anything like that's banned. Therefore, you may not use the name of a third-party corporation. Wait, what? You also can't use a third-party corporation, organization, product, or service, or trade name as the name of a community tournament. So you also can have Monday Meltdown, because Meltdown's the name of the bar. That's also banned. What can you call tournaments? You have to call them, like, abstract concepts, like, I don't know, Fervent Fridays. Fervent Friday Throwdown. That's what you have to do. Oh my god. If all the individual organized businesses belong to a single legal entity or organization. Okay, so you can do it for a university. So a university one's allowed because you're all a member of something. So if you're all a member of a university, you can still be called, oh, this is the, you know, Warwick University Super Smash Bros. Tournament. Is it permitted to use Nintendo game titles or character names in the community tournaments? Not permitted to use trademark IP in the name of a tournament. So you can't call it Super Smash Bros. Okay, that's whatever. That's awful. We want to live stream the community tournament on network services such as YouTube. Is this possible? Can I live stream? This is a big part of tournaments. Like, every tournament, the vast majority of tournaments have a stream set up, and that's how a lot of people engage with tournaments, how they enjoy them. So let's see what this happens. Videos and still images, personal accounts, appropriate video, or monetizing. Please obtain permission. So you have to have everyone's consent, which is workaroundable. That's fine. A little extra step, but it's okay. Please be aware of the limits of the total revenue. So basically, it's like you can do this, you just can't make enough. You can't make a lot of money out of it. Community tournaments and Nintendo games cannot be used to advertise or promote any entity. Okay, so you can't do any adverts, but you are allowed to have YouTube ads. So you don't have to be unmonetized, basically. You are allowed to have adverts on your YouTube videos or your Twitch streams. Would a community tournament be permitted if these guidelines if persons affiliated with a legal entity? I'm skipping that. Would a tournament organized by individuals be outsourced to a legal entity? Is it acceptable to use Nintendo products as game prizes? Yes. I want to organize a large tournament with more than 300 participants in an online tournament or more than 200 in-person tournament. What should I do? Wow. So yeah, someone says, I want to make a larger tournament. We do not grant permission for individuals to organize tournaments of more than 300 participants. It's just banned. That's it. It's gone. You can't make a big tournament. You can't make anything more than a regional. I've accidentally made a tournament that's too big. If tournament is divided into blocks such as A block, B block. Okay, so I split it into two things. Okay, so you could do that in theory. You can make an online tournament with 2 blocks of people. I don't really care about that. Can school clubs? Okay, so schools can still do it. I don't care about schools. How can legal entities or organizations host game tournaments using Nintendo games? So if you're a company who wants to run, like say you're Red Bull, you want to run a Smash tournament, you have to apply to Nintendo specifically, which already is like, fuck, they'll probably charge you $1 million. You need a license number. That's never going to happen again. How can I host a game tournament using Nintendo games as part of a charity activity at my high school? Only at your high school. Yep, whatever. What do tournaments that are illegally, inappropriately conducted or that could be viewed as offensive or otherwise inappropriate refer to? So yeah, tournaments that aren't, like, basically okay. Violate the law, yeah. Intellectual property, pretty strict. False license number, whatever. Interfere with the proper operation or impair the safety of intended products and services. Illegally copied, mods. Involve cheating, that's fine. Use of game consoles, software, that's fine. That's tough. Game consoles, it makes sense. Accessories or software. Oh, that could fuck up a lot of controllers, actually. Like modded controllers, maybe? That would be really bad. Like people who try and improve their controllers or make them better in some way. That cannot be used in regular gameplay. Wow. So you can't... Nothing extra than gameplay. Wow. These are things for prizes. I read this before. Like, none of this is like that specific. It doesn't say anything like cash. Like, products or services that infringe on things like that. Gambling. Like, you know, alcohol. Weapons. Under the circumstances, would Nintendo request the cancellation of a community tournament? Nintendo may request the cancellation of any community tournaments in its sole discretion, including any tournaments that violate or may violate these guidelines or that Nintendo deems inappropriate. In addition, Nintendo may request the cancellation of a community tournament on behalf of a right holder of intellectual property rights other than Nintendo. So basically, if you break any of these rules, they have the right to say you're no longer doing this tournament. Or if someone else says, I don't want them doing this tournament, they're allowed to do that as well. I want to organize a game tournament, and I made an announcement about it before the guidelines were released. The tournament is scheduled to take place after the effective date of these guidelines. Do I need to make a separate application? So they were announced today, but they don't come into effect until 2024. So yeah, if you're this year, you're fine. You can do whatever you want. So if you want to have a massive booze up tournament, today's the year. It's got to be this year. Tournaments announced before the dates of the release guidelines, you have to make a separate thing. Oh my god. Okay. And that's it. These are the guidelines. Might be fucking Jover, guys. I think it might be it. Oh my god. This is unbelievable. It is unbelievable how restrictive these are. These are absolutely... This is it. Like, if these are enforced in any way, which it seems like they intend to be, they very strictly say that they will, this is it. It absolutely destroys any possibility of hosting a Smash tournament that has anything other than 10, 16-year-olds in a basement with no venue costs because it's your mum's house, and you charge everyone £1, and then that's what you use for the prize. Like, there was no esport future. There's no community fun future, like for adults. Like, that's just not a thing anymore. You can't have a bar. You can't do anything outside of a few people in a bedroom. This is it. Like, I saw everyone reacting to this, and everyone's always like exaggerating. Oh, it's so Jover. Oh my god, we're done. Like, oh, Smash is dead. And like, I've always been like, oh, we'll survive. Like, after the whole like Panda stuff, I was like, look, we'll live. Like, we will live. We can still play in little basements and like hide, and it'll be fine. But this is it. Like, I guess what you could do is you could play a tournament and just not stream it or record it in any way. At a bar. That's what you could do. So they'd never find that out, right? Unless someone rats on you. But that takes out so much of the community. Like, we are a community. We make content. We make videos. I've made several videos about tournaments, and that wouldn't be the same without this fun and excitement. Not just the alcohol side, but like TOs being able to afford what they're doing, more than 200 people being able to attend, like being able to make content out of it, being able to have everyone who has different talents and skills and passions get involved. Like, I'm a video guy. I make videos about the scene. They'd get affected by this. There's people who love making mods, and the modders are gone. There's people who like making art, and they make the artwork for it. They make banners, they make posters, they make the stream overlays, which involve, things like a Nintendo IP, and that's gone. In almost every single way, it's over. Like, if this does shut down Monday Meltdown, I don't know what to do. Like, it's been such a amazing part of the last 2 years since I've lived in London. I have had so much fun and made so many friends in the scene, and I can't believe that this could be it. Like, they could work their asses off to kill this. I can only badly paraphrase the words of Mango, but applying it to Ultimate, which is what I play, in that, like, you're not fucking stopping us. Like, we're not stopping. I don't care what's gonna happen. Like, you can shut down Monday Meltdown, you can shut down Escape Buster. I don't know how many fucking cease and desist letters you do. We are still gonna play Smash. We are still gonna play Smash Bros. And we will do it how we want to. We will do it in bars. We will get drunk. We will chat shit on commentary. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, we're not done. I don't think it's Jover. It's as Jover as it's ever been, but I think we can still do it. Otherwise, we all just hard pivot to NASB, the Nintendo, not Nintendo, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 when that comes out. Let's hard pivot. My Rem and Stimpy was nasty anyway, and I'm willing to bring it back. But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been a bit of a long, sort of aimless rant. So just going over these rules. I can only hope that they don't get enforced in any way. You know, the fact that they've specifically put one out for Europe as well as Japan is quite concerning. You know, they include pounds as well. Like they're mentioning us specifically. This is a shame. This is really bad. You know, a hobby of mine and one that I've made lots of friends with. I'm sad to see it go. It's not over yet, but it could be. So yeah. Once again, I want to say shout-outs to everyone who runs tournaments in the UK. Shout-outs to Dat Team. There's too many of you to mention, but, you know, I love you all. You're all incredible. Shout-outs to Escape Bar, the East London Smash team. They've done some of the best tournaments that London's ever seen, and just outside of London, of course, Brentwood Brawl. Great time. Shout-outs to Robbie and the Counter-Attack team, too. You know, you guys are the last remaining local in London, the only one that doesn't have booze in it. Once again, still not really my thing. But, you got your place. You might be it. You know, you might be the last ones, the last surviving, the designated survivors of London Smash. Oh my god! And to everyone who's put, you know, everyone who's just come to one tournament, had a nice time and left, and to everyone who's dedicated hours of their lives to be working hard to contributing to what is a fantastic community. I'll just say thank you. You've all been great, and look. Whilst, you know, we can all be Doomer, and I'm definitely being Doomer, I don't think we're done yet. But, you know, stay strong, stay together. Good luck, everyone. See you around. I would also like it known that I don't think it's any coincidence that yesterday, me and my good buddy Phil went a little bit wacky on the commentary. And we were a little bit tipsy. And this may have impacted how things are. So all I can do is, I'm going to cut to myself yesterday describing how the Smash scene is. Love you all. Bye-bye.
I don't know about that one.
How's the Queen? Dead.
And with that, thanks for watching.
Oh, we talking about the